Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be checking out another video from Sky. It's Sky is the name of the channel. And it's Americans' first time out of America culture shocks. Links down below for this. I love culture shock videos. I really do. It's always, it's just cool to see, like, because like people get used to what they're used to, what they're born into, what their society around them does and everything, right? So then going to another place, even somewhere that you think is similar, there's going to be culture shocks, you know what I mean? Countries that share, on the surface what seems to be a lot of similarities or whatever. Not saying that America and Netherlands are countries that share those similarities at all. I'm just saying in general. There's just culture shocks no matter where you go, which is great. It's just cool to watch. Anyways, it's Sky. Definitely recommend this channel. American, lives in the Netherlands, does great videos. It compares the two countries. So thanks for watching with me. Let's check it out.
So recently something unusual happened where the past 2 weeks I've had 2 friends come visit that have never been out of America. Like Pimp and Date. They fresh out. And it's so crazy listening to their perspective and their culture shocks. And I'm gonna be honest, they named a couple of things that I never even thought of. Side note.
Okay.
Windmill.
Windmills. I like his little Netflix looking thing. Skyflix. That's pretty cool. Pretty unique, creative. I don't know if that music's copyrighted, so I was just trying to
come and visit within the past 2 weeks. Both of them are American and both of them have never been outside the country. And needless to say, there have been quite a few interesting culture shocks that they've expressed to me while they were here as well as when they left. Side note, what is going on with this weather, man? It's all cold. Look, and unlike the other day where this was like packed, everybody was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to work. But yeah, man, it is always interesting to hear how much of a trip it is for people who leave America and come and visit Europe. Like, it's such a trip hearing about it because sometimes it's things that you know, and also a lot of times though it's things that you don't really notice anymore because you've been here for so long. Perfect example of this is how one of my friends mentioned how when he came, he saw people, guys, doubling up on bikes and even scooters. Like, the guy will pull up on a scooter and another guy will get right behind him and just.
That's not something you'd see so much in America. So I could see how that could be a shocking thing. Because here in America, it's so car centric, and a lot of people have the mentality and the attitude that people on bikes or mopeds are only on a bike or moped because they either are a criminal and lost their license for drinking and driving or something, or they're just poor and can't afford a car. That's not my mindset at all. Just a lot of Americans, that's just the image and whatever that they, that's just how it's perceived here, right? So I could see, an American going to another country and then seeing like a dude pull up on a moped, another guy jump on the back. That is not something you would see here so much. Maybe in poor areas, little ghettos, stuff like that, you would see it more often. Again, because the mindset of, and it's just you're forced that way though. In this country, it's like, you have to have a car to get around, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Chill, get on his phone and do it. They'll ride away, right? And the same thing goes for bikes. You'll see, it's normal, especially with these new fat tire bikes. It's normal that you'll see a couple of guys doubling up on a fat tire bike.
The fat tire, those are nice and they hold a lot more weight. I want to get one. They have some beach cruiser style ones, which they're not Dutch style bikes, but you can tell that they were inspired by a Dutch style bike. They're similar, not built as good, probably. Not according to the videos that I've saw. Like, you guys build some strong bikes there in the Netherlands, but yeah, with the fat tires, they're comfortable rides. They can hold a lot more weight. I'm a big boy. I weigh like 220 pounds or something.
Sitting behind the other. And this is completely normal. Matter of fact, since I've been traveling for so long, I never really noticed any, it just seemed normal to me because you see it in a lot of different places. except for in America. And I'm being dead serious too, man. This is something that would have to be one of the weirdest things if you've seen it in the States. And my
Yeah.
friend actually pointed this out. He's like, man, it was so trippy to see guys just doubling up on bikes and scooters and mopeds and even motorcycles. And I was like, what do you mean? Because again, I've been traveling for so long. I've seen it everywhere. I mean, even when he brought this to my attention, it made me like think for a second, like, why would this be weird? And it's like,
But he's so used to it. I don't know how many years he's lived in the Netherlands. I don't know. And then prior to living in the Netherlands, you know, how much travel did he do outside of America? I'm not sure. But yeah, so he's used to it. So clearly, you know, to him, that's interesting.
oh, I see. People kind of worry about the wrong things in America. So this was extremely strange for my friend because he's just never seen it before, because something like this would turn heads in America, like
It
for
would.
real. And I mean, not in a good way.
Not by me. Not by me. And especially since starting my channel, I've became more like aware of the world and aware of like, you know, because prior to starting my channel, you know, I just know what America taught me, right? Which, you know, it's like they only teach you a handful of things in school, and you know how kids are. You know, you're in school, you don't care, right? I didn't care when I was in school, so I didn't pay attention. And then, you know, most of my early adulthood, you know, just like a lot of people, you don't care. You're just out partying, drinking, having fun, hanging out with your friends, this and that, you know. And it wasn't until I was probably close to 30. You know, I'm 38 now. Um, so probably around, you know, when I was close to 30 that I really started like caring. You know what I mean? Like I started actually giving a shit about the world. And then starting my channel and everything, it's basically made me like really aware of like looking at things on a global scale more so than just the local small-brained American scale that I was, you know, the perspective I had before, right? So I don't have that perspective anymore at all. I'm not going to say I didn't because I used to. I used to have the same, you know, perspective. I used to make fun of people that rode bikes and this kind of stuff. I'm ashamed of how I used to be honest with you, but being a dumb teenager, being brought up in America, this and that, probably without the greatest role models and probably not the greatest friends I was hanging out with. You know how it goes. People mature over time, and now I realize it's not like that everywhere else. It's only America that people are like that. You know what I mean? It's just crazy once you start realizing how shit your country is that you were brought up thinking was just so grand and you know you just thought everybody admired the American or United States, you know what I mean, the American people or whatever. And it's like, you know, they brainwash you to where you think that like everybody in the rest of the world wants to be here and everywhere sucks but here. And now I realize that's not the case. People don't want to be in America because people know how America is. It's backwards from what we taught or what we were taught. But anyways, enough rambling on. We're going back to the video, guys. Hit like if you're still here.
Get into the why. But it's interesting because what he said next was something that I've mentioned before, which is why do we even care in the first place? This has nothing to do with anybody or anybody else's life. It has no effect on anybody. And he even said the same thing. He was like, it was weird to him because he found himself caring about something that had nothing to do with him. And he noticed that he did it a lot in the States. Oh snap, we getting hot. Dang, the sun is coming out. But yeah, basically people just don't care. Like it has nothing to do with anybody. So
and that's what I'm like that now too, you know, like I used to worry about what people thought of me and I used to think and care about every, you know, now it's like we're all just here surviving. We're all doing our own thing. You know, you do you, I'm going to do me. You know what I mean? Who am I to judge anybody? Like we all have our own mistakes. We all have our own lives. We all have our own agendas and goals and whatnot, and you know regrets. We're all human.
why care about it? And then my
Right.
other friend had another experience, and he even said something along the lines of, man, it just seems like you could just kind of be you, basically. Like, no one cares what you're wearing, no one cares how you look.
That's
As long
great.
as you're not causing problems, you could
Right.
just be you. And he found it so refreshing that just no one cares about these things. And to both of them, it was such a relief. And that's something that, again, this is what I have expressed before, just how it's nice to be like just normal. Like, it's nice to be not cared about or looked at a certain way based
Don't normal. Right, guys?
off of the way you look. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice. It's also nice to not worry about things that don't matter, or things being shoved in your face that don't matter. And it's so interesting to me to see how just something like guys doubling up on bikes mattered, like made my friend second guess, like, why do I care about a lot of things that I care about when it has nothing to do with me, my family, my job, nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want to make myself clear. I am not saying that people here don't judge or make fun of other people. I'm not saying that. But
And that goes back to what I was saying. People are people. People will judge this and that, of course. There's going to be bad people everywhere. Nowhere's perfect, but, you know.
what I am saying is that I've noticed it's usually a child's game, meaning that it's usually by teens or the younger crowd. Grown adults, they don't care. Like, no one's gonna look at you, what you're wearing, and then behind your back talk to their friends, their wife, their husband, or whatever about it. Like, there's just so many other ways to be using your time that can be more useful or productive.
Very
so
true.
So many more ways. Versus in the States, this stuff is, I ain't gonna lie, it be on blast. Like, you'll see it on TV shows, you'll see it when you're at work, it's in your work environment, it's also where you go out with friends, you'll see other people making fun of you. Like, it's a big part of the culture to care about what others don't have or do have, or how they do things versus how you do things, or how you look versus how they look. That is that's like a part of the American culture, even though it makes no difference in your life. Like, not even a little bit.
Zero.
Which is why it was so interesting when both of my friends brought this to my attention in different ways.
Yeah.
And
that is interesting, like, you know, and once he thought about, like, he wasn't even thinking about it at first, but then he thought about it and was like, wait a minute, yeah, wow, you know, it's pretty interesting.
Like, blew my mind, man. Which is why I feel like it's so crazy that both of my friends brought this to my attention. Like, mind blowing that they really liked how no one cared. Like, just no one cared. Like, they just went along with their life. But again, it's funny, even though they had both different experiences, they had the same feeling. The overall result was no one cares, and why should we care? Why do we care about the things that we do care about? Okay, what is going on? I completely changed. Look at that, man. Look, this is the same day. One side of Harlem is all dark. The other side is like...
What do you mean he completely changed? He's wearing the same clothes. Maybe a different shirt under the jacket, which, by the way, I like that jacket.
Like sunnied in a mug. Yeah,
coat, whatever it's called.
Totes now.
Looks nice.
Oh, so I know we gotta back up. Look at that view, man. Look at that one. I actually like this side just a little bit better because it just looks just a little bit nicer to me. Even though, I mean, side note too, it does looks like it's getting dark again. Gotta always stop and appreciate the views. And now something else that one of my friends brought up that's very similar to something else the other friend brought up was the fact that he was talking with his friend. He's known this guy forever, but he was talking with his friend and they went out, they had drinks, and they met other people, and they hung out with his friends. And he noticed that not a lot of people are working like all day, every day, as well as the weekends. So he just asked, like, do people not have multiple jobs? And man, he said the whole group looked at him.
It's called a work-life balance. And I love it. I love the European mindset with that. And I have that opportunity, thanks to you amazing people, with my channel, to where I can be my own boss and I can control my own time, be, have my own work-life balance. Obviously, as you can tell, recently I went through a time I didn't get any videos done because I was having issues with some electricity issues in my house. And if I had a regular job, I couldn't do that. I couldn't just not work for a week and a half or whatever, 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like with YouTube, I can, and it's great. And I love the European mindset. It's fantastic.
And was like, why would we have multiple jobs? Like,
Yeah,
what do we
right.
need multiple jobs for? And well,
Yeah.
he explained that in the States, a lot of people, even if they have careers or they're adults, they work 2 to 3 jobs. And they do
Yeah,
this
it's
just to
dumb.
be able to basically get by and stay a little bit ahead of the curve with just the cost of living, their rent, the cost of food, all this other stuff. And no joke, he said his friend, the guy that he knew for a long time, forever, as well as the whole group that he just met, was like, no. Like, flat out, no.
No.
No one is working like 3 jobs. Unless
Absolutely
they're in
not.
like college where they're running programs or something like that, or internships. A lot of people don't work multiple jobs.
Absolutely not. And the reason that they do here is because people overspend. Just like he was saying, everybody's so worried about what everybody else is doing, right? That every time everybody else buys something, oh, I got to buy it too. It's buy, 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 buy. And nobody wants to buy the cheap stuff. Everybody wants to buy super expensive. Screw that. I buy the cheap stuff. I look for deals. There's no reason to go out and spend $60 on this item when I can get a comparable item for $10. They're just doing it. Oh, but this is the name brand, and I can brag about it because so and so has this over here, and now I got. It's stupid. So you're overbuying, you're overspending, and then to be able to afford it, now you got to have all these stupid jobs. It makes no sense to me. It is absolutely mind blowing how ignorant the people with that mindset is. It is astronomically insane to me. I can't even wrap my head around it, to be honest with you. You know, if you got what you got to need to get by and survive, what are you doing all that extra for? Just to brag? What? No wonder everybody in America is so stressed out. And let's push play.
I mean, unless they're younger. And
Ooh,
my
that looks
other friend
good.
had a very similar experience visiting family in Europe as well. And he legit told me that it almost felt like his family member just didn't work, even though they did. They're not working crazy hours, they're not working on the weekends, nothing. And he also saw how much time his family members had to spend with each other and to just hang out with him and
People think I don't work. They think I just sit around. They're like, I had one of the neighbors ask me, like, well, what do you do? You're here all the time. And I'm like, oh no, I work from home. It's the guy I get wood from for my fireplace. He's like, what do you do? What do you you know what I mean? He thought I was just like a bum or something. I just sat here all day. No, I work. I make my money. I just don't have to like go slave away 12 hours a day like everybody else. Like it's fantastic. I love it, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, if you can't, go watch a couple more of my videos. That would help me out even more.
his family members had to spend with each other and to just hang out with him and show him around, even though they had full-time jobs. And again, this is a different experience, but the culture shock is the same in the sense of like people have time and people don't. They ain't working like 3 jobs just to get by. And man, this was such a shock for my friend because he's like, Sky, man, listen, man, you know how many jobs I have? I have 1 full-time job and then I have 2 part-time jobs. So while he was here, it shocked him just how much time people had for themselves versus when he looks back on himself, he's working 3 jobs. This is common. Matter of fact,
I don't know how they can do it. I personally absolutely have no clue how they can mentally do that because I've had jobs, like real jobs before. I used to work and then YouTube forever. Like I had to work. And I hated it most of the time. And when I was doing construction and stuff like that, it was okay. I liked it. You know, when I did tattooing, obviously I liked it. It was something that was a hobby. It started that way and became a thing. But like physical labor jobs, factory work, you wake up every day absolutely hating it and wondering how much you really need that job. Thinking about quitting every single day because you hate it so much. How can people have multiple of those? Mind blowing.
On himself, he's working 3 jobs. This is common. Matter of fact, it's the new norm in the States now that you pretty much need a
Gross.
full-time job to help you with benefits, and then you need something on the side to basically help you pay for anything extra like groceries and save a little bit of money. But basically, yeah, you need 2 jobs. I mean,
I don't have the benefits though, so like kind of living on the edge there, I guess. You know, something happens, I'm kind of screwed. But hey, it's all good. Hopefully, right?
depending on where you live, you might need 3. Look, I'm just super saying. Look, the shirt says it. Just super saying. You know what? I need to calm down. People are looking at me.
Yeah, because you're in the Netherlands and you're in a you're being a loud American in the Netherlands. Of course, they're looking at you.
Oh man, it's so crazy that I never really thought about that whole, yo. See, dude, I never
Was he over there
really
peeing?
thought about the whole working multiple.
Hold on, was that guy over there peeing? He is. He's just over there pissing by like a piece of scaffolding or something. Oh, that's great.
See, dude, I never really thought about the whole working multiple job things. I mentioned it in one video about how, I believe I mentioned how people do work multiple jobs here, but I mostly meant like younger people. I've seen younger people work multiple jobs because they're in college or they're in high school and they're doing other programs, which is, I mean, that seems normal to me, but not so much working multiple jobs. Like I'll be honest, I do not know any adults that work multiple jobs. Maybe one, I'm trying to remember if he does, but yeah, I don't really know anybody who works multiple jobs. I mean, if you watch any of my older videos, and know my story, like I worked multiple jobs in high school and through college, and even when I moved to LA. But it was like, it's not that I was bad with money, it was just that I was helping a lot. I was helping out a lot with my family, as well as I lived on my own, and I was also trying to do these big moves. So I definitely understand working multiple jobs. It's just funny that that was never a culture shock that I've noticed here, that a lot of adults don't work multiple jobs. Side note, whose little car is that, man? Man, I see that little car all the time parked right here. It's right next to the hotel. Man, I wonder if they'll give me a ride. And now there were a couple of other culture shocks that they've experienced as Americans traveling like out of the country for the first time. Like one of them, my friend was like, Sky, like how in the world, like wait, how in the world is there no ice? Like why don't people have ice here? Where's the ice?
Oh yeah, it doesn't like. Yeah, we get like where I live in northern Indiana, we get like the worst of the worst of both extremes. Like we get like super hot summers sometimes, you know, in like triple digits, Fahrenheit, of course, whatever that is in Celsius, I don't know, but and then of course we'll get like really bad like blizzards and ice storms and snowstorms, and I've seen 6-7 foot snow drifts before across the road, and
He was like, how do people drink water warm?
oh, he's talking about ice in the drinks. I feel dumb now. I was talking about the weather, okay? Ice in the drinks, okay.
It's like, what's usually refrigerated? He was talking about how he needs his soda watered down with the ice and the
I don't
whole
put ice
thing.
in
So that
mine.
really shocked him. Something else too that shocked one of the other friends was the food. And that's also that one to me, that's one not surprising. But yeah, they really both friends commented on how good the food was wherever they went in Europe. They were like, man, you taste it as soon as you eat something. They've also commented on how the mindset is less materialistic over here in Europe. But I think one of the ones that they mentioned that really stood out to me was how the vibe felt in Europe versus the vibe in the States. And to me, this is actually an interesting one because they both use words like heavy when they got back, because this is what we talked about after their visit and they returned back to America, was they both felt some form of heaviness. And at first I was just like, are you sure it's not the food? Like, like getting back to the American food? But no, seriously, they both just mentioned how the vibe felt just off. Like it doesn't feel like that's how people should live. Like that's not the normal way of living. Stressful and unsafe and always needing to be turned on. And I think this actually makes sense considering that once you get to America, like, you know, you come here, you don't need a car. You using public transportation, you're around a bunch of people.
More
people
free.
Are actively, you see people actively outside, walking, biking, whatever the case may be. Side note, my friend commented on the bikes. He was like, holy cow, I've never seen, Sky Money, I ain't never seen as many bikes in my life. But yeah, you see people out, you see people biking, you see people walking, you see people on public transportation, you're interacting with so many different people every day, and so many other good feelings, right? And then you go back, you go home, and remember, this is your home. You go back, and you're bombarded with like things always trying to sell you. All the news is on all the time. People only want to talk about certain things, as well as you're in a car all the time as well. And when it comes to work, well, it's not really working because they like what they do. It's the fact that when they're off, they're still thinking about work. They feel like they're always at work, and when they're not at work, they're tired and they gotta hop back in this car, which is.
Hold on. What is this? Why do these buildings look like they're like slanted? What is going on? I know that ain't because there's no hill. Like San Francisco and stuff, you see buildings, you know, and you got like a big hill. There's no hills in the Netherlands, not where he's at, for sure. This is flat, like flat. Promise you that. So those buildings are slanted. Anyways, back to what he's saying. It just really looks weird. Maybe, I mean, it could just be the camera angle, but I don't know. Something looks funny.
Working when they're not at work, they're tired and they gotta hop back in this car, which is stressful, which is time consuming. And then this also turns into like safety. Like, they don't feel safe because.
And then the gas money you got to pay for that car, that ain't cheap driving it around all the time.
You don't see anybody out in a lot of places unless you're like going to a place to go downtown. You have to
it's isolated.
You got to drive somewhere to go for a walk because nobody walks in the neighborhood. And this.
Yeah, I don't have human interaction, guys. I really don't. Like, I'm at my house. I work at the house. When we go to the store, you know, we get in the car and we go there. There's no people out doing nothing, you know, and it's like sometimes I'll help people in the store because I'm really tall compared to people around me. So I'll have like little old ladies that need to get something off the top shelf, and you know, I'll get it for them and you know, talk to them for a few seconds or whatever. But that's about it. That's my interaction, you know. I feel like people are more depressed here because of it, because you don't have that sense of community so much. And if you do try to go out and start talking to strangers here, they think you're weird. Because it's different. It's not like Europe.
You gotta drive somewhere to go for a walk because nobody walks in the neighborhood. And this is something that I actually understand quite well because when I go back to the States often, and when I do, it does feel. Oh, I almost got hit by this bike. Look. It would have been my fault, not paying attention. Imagine coming from a place like this, right? Where you're seeing people, you see people every day, you see people sitting outside, you see people inside, you get on public transportation and you're seeing people. The houses here are even closer, so we're living closer together to other people that we don't really know, but we do know because we see them every day. And I mean, just that alone, just taking away all of this and just isolating yourself in a box, that alone gives you that vibe. And that's what I'm saying, like, it's not even that it's not that safe or anything like that. It's just that you're alone a lot of the time. I believe that people genuinely like to be around other people. I mean, hey, that's just me. I'm just super saiyan. Oh, look, side note, look.
All right, so that's a great video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I think there's more culture shocks than that. Those are just the ones that his friends mentioned to him when they were visiting, obviously. But hey, feel free to list a whole bunch more. That's always fun. Get that engagement up there in the comment section. Hit like and subscribe. Have a super fun, awesome day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.